welcome to the IFC!
By the way, something we got to work on, that intro with all the clapping. I feel like it would be better if it's slowly faded out. Whenever it cuts, it feels like all the momentum just hits a wall right to start the show.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
I think it's pretty realistic.
That's how man. That's why it's a pirate ship. Hey,
I mean, when I put,
well done.
Okay,
that's
cool.
A little better.
Yeah. It's my show. No, I'm just kidding.
Greetings.
All right.
Welcome.
What's McCoppin saying over here? What's up, McCoppin? What's the sound of a short bus back? Okay, whatever. All right, so we got a couple topics to talk about tonight, guys. Which, first off, the movie that was picked, Raising Arizona, is what we watched. He said I'll join. Yeah, he'll join us later, I suppose. We also have a guest that's going to join us later. So Raising Arizona won this week's poll, and I know what you might be saying if you're paying attention. You're like, wasn't there a tie? Well, yes, there was a tie. I gave it to Raising Arizona because, to be fair, AC only started campaigning for his movie the last couple hours, and you know what? If you really wanted us to watch Ghost Rider, you have nobody else but yourself to blame. I don't know if you understand this, but this is a participation effort kind of thing. You can join in. You can help me campaign for the movie, all right? When I lose, we all lose, okay? I just want there to be an understanding out there, all right? So
thankfully, America won this week.
I had thought maybe there's a chance the unbearable Nicolas Cage of movie, whatever extra. The title of the movie I chose, it almost reads like an anime. It's 10 words too long. There's semicolons in it. Yeah. The number 0 for no reason. I thought it was going to perform a little bit better because it's new, but it got trounced.
Yeah, it was edgy.
Well, also the title had to smush it because you can't fit the whole title in there.
It looked like unbearable wet talent, and I was like, "Dang, how am I going to compete with that?"
It's a 25 character limit or something like that.
Yeah, I hate that. I hate that so much.
That's what it is.
Fix it, Elon. Fix it.
So yeah, we got Raising Arizona to talk about. Hopefully, Ghost Rider will come back another time. Maybe next week. I was thinking we could do bring back some of the losses and have them compete. From other weeks.
Biggest loser week.
Yeah, loser week, something like that.
Jupiter Ascending. Oh, wait, no, we watched
Jupiter Ascending won.
We watched that. That's right.
It won and it lost.
We can watch it again.
And we all
I'm not against
it. And we all lost. Wow.
Yeah. So we also have some settings to talk about. Settings in movies and story writing in general, how to kind of incorporate it into stuff. We also have desperation as a motivation. For some reason, Justin really wants to talk about desperation. I don't know if it's a personal thing he's got going on.
Just put it out there as actually, I was just spitballing things, and you're like, that one. I was like, I'm surprised he picked that one. So
it seemed like there's something. It seemed like
maybe there's something there. I don't know. Ties in.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And then
coffee.
Deadpool came out. So I mean, we're not talking about the movie entirely. We're only talking about the concept of the humor that's in there. The Deadpool humor versus other humor. And we just watched a comedy, two very different types of comedy. And so we'll talk about how that kind of works with the audience, this and that, right? So, Hey, Maji, what's up? Anyways, let's get into Raising Arizona. Emily.
Sorry, I was just writing Mrs. Batts was writing Iron Seas All-Stars. I like the sound of that. It makes it sound really cool.
I like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Reminds me of the All-Star Tour. If you ever went to one of those, Justin. You ever go to the All-Star Tour? All-Star Tour, brother. Metal.
I've never even heard of such a thing.
Okay, well. Same with the Iron Seas All-Stars. But anyway. What were you saying?
Right. I was just saying that the summary for this movie, for Raising Arizona, we'll see how my notes are. I did these last minute. When a childless couple, an ex-con and an ex-cop, decide to help themselves to one of another family's quintuplets, well, their lives become more complicated than they had anticipated. So this movie was directed by Joel and Ethan Coen. They directed The Lebrowski, Old Man Can't Be Here, Hey Brother, Where Did You Go? And Fart Go, amongst some other notable movies out there. This is starring Nicolas Cage. or Kajay, as he is known in some parts of the world, Holly Hunter, who I recognize that name, but I don't know where else I've seen her before. And the third person on the cast was Trey Wilson, not John Goodman, not the dude from Wait, is that the dude from Ernest Goes to Camp? I'm gonna claim it is. I don't know.
Trey Wilson was Mr. Arizona.
Oh no, it's different.
Yep.
Totally different person. Anyways, he was
The guy with the really based message at the end. The guy that was like, you know what? Anyway, we'll get there.
So the cost of this movie in 2024, what it cost today? It's about 15 million, but the box office was 83 million. One of my favorite things about this movie, the runtime, a cool hour 34. Okay, you're talking 1.5x. We get through this thing in no time flat. IMDb 7.3 out of 10, 91% on Rotten Tomatoes, 69% on Metacritic, and a 4.7 out of 5 on Amazon.
Interesting.
And that's that is the rundown for Raising Arizona.
I heard it wasn't well received. Those seem like pretty good reviews.
I mean, Raising Arizona came out before a lot of these like websites were around, so
yeah, it could be. I didn't look up the reception. I usually pull one of the critic reviews, but again, I did this last minute. I was busy today.
Hey, no slacking on the Iron Seas. What are you doing?
It was my birthday. I was taking
It's your birthday today?
Yeah, it's my birthday today.
Hey, happy birthday.
Oh, thanks,
No, it
man.
isn't.
You're
Me and
either
Terry,
turning
me and Terry
believe
Crews are birthday
19
bros.
or 42. One of those
45.
two.
I'm
just
45
kidding. I
today.
believe you. Happy birthday.
Oh, wait,
really?
46. Wait,
Wow.
47. 47 today. Yeah.
Wow.
Beige
Wait,
don't
really?
crack.
I don't know if you're kidding or not.
I know that's the fun of it.
Based.
I can't find any other reviews. So we'll just
Happy
keep moving
birthday.
forward. Oh, I disappeared. Am I here? Oh, there.
You're
I go.
here. We see
Sometimes
you.
I get that little wheel instead of myself, and I don't know if that's just me or if it's the world. Anyways,
No. Maybe you should be on the short bus as well. All right.
Yeah.
So this movie, I mean, the entire like tone of the movie was. No, I mean, I guess it's all the Coen brother movies have just this weird tone.
There was a weird tone. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, throughout. And
Pretty fucking weird.
yeah, I thought this was a drama, and I started watching it, and you don't get too far, and I'm like,
Well, it
What
is. It is a drama.
what is happening?
No.
It is.
It
I'm gonna say
is.
no. I feel like a drama has to be grounded in reality, and this movie is not.
I
It's
see.
zany. It's so
What are
wild.
you talking about?
So what's a drama not grounded in reality then? What was that?
Like the fight scene in this, the bounty
No.
hunter and antics.
No, I mean
with
like
him
what
and-
genre? Like what genre?
This one?
No, what genre is a fight scene? Is like a drama not grounded in reality? Like what genre would that be then?
When is a drama? I guess if there's like a
Where is a
sci-fi
drama?
drama or something,
Yeah, I
fantasy
guess.
drama. I
Right.
guess there's something like that. But to me, this movie, I wouldn't call it a drama. I'd say it's like 70% goofy,
Yeah.
weird humor, and then-
Dramedy?
Dramedy. That's what I'm
More
I
like a
looking
actually
for.
think that
comedy.
is a term.
it is. But I think
Dramedy
it's
is
more
a
of a
term,
comedy. I think it's a comedy with some drama in it rather than a drama
Gotcha.
with a couple giggles.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This isn't a
Comedy.
movie that'll make you cry sad tears. That doesn't happen. I
Comedy.
feel like dramas
No.
or get you really like,
Pretty
oh,
adorable.
those people are fighting. Yeah, it's like it's fairly light the whole way through.
They got a bunch of babies in there. I gotta say, so like one of the, so like the whole thing of the movie is like Nicolas Cage is a complete screw up that can't help but try to rob convenience stores specifically, but he doesn't like do it out of malice. He never has his guns loaded, and every time he
Nope.
goes to prison, like he does his time, and then he sits in front of the committee, and they're like, "All right, are you?" do you feel like you're danger now? And he's like, no, sir, I'm not going to be a repeat offense.
Mhm.
And they're like, okay, have fun. Like, they're not really doing their checks and balances. And then, of course, he goes out and does the same thing. And then he falls in love with the woman that's like taking his little profile picture at the police station. And when she's down on the luck with her boyfriend that kind of leaves her, he up and he plays he uses his Riz, and snatches her up, and they're like really happy, and he kind of gets away from his like stealing.
Yep.
The woman
Yep.
starts to fix him,
And now we
then-
start understanding why AC loves it, but continue. continue. The whole story is really wholesome, actually.
Yeah, it is. It is, really is. But she really wants a baby. She's got the baby fever, like
Her
crazy.
biology gets activated. She's like, I'm in love now. Oh shit! The same thing that happens to many ladies in like their 30s, in particular, and late 20s and stuff, is their biology activates. Or maybe it doesn't activate until you meet somebody that you really like. But this happens with dudes too. Like both me and my wife didn't really want kids before we met each other, for example, and then our biology activated, and now it's like, holy shit, what were we missing? You know what I mean? It's crazy.
From now on, I will only be able to think of this movie as Raising Air Riz. Oh no. Well played, Steve Batts. Another home run.
Well played, yeah. Yeah,
You
so
need that Riz.
she really wants a baby. She finds out she can't because the doctor says she can't. And then a local celebrity, I guess, used car dealership person. He's on the commercials and all. He has quintuplets. It's on the news, and she's like, they kind of are like, oh wait, that's like way too many babies for like one person to have. So let's go take one. And she kind of like forces her husband to go steal the baby, and he gets in there.
Oh, quite literally forces him.
Yeah,
I love how he takes the credit for it, but like, quite literally, she's like, get in there, and he's like, you could tell he doesn't want to, and it's totally her. And I knew that was going to be relevant when I saw that at the beginning. I'm like, that's going to be relevant later. Just the fact that he didn't really even want to do it.
Yep. And so they actually had a really tricky scene where the camera spins around the room, and you got 5 babies, and they're real babies. I can only imagine this is like an absolute nightmare to film.
Yeah. I was thinking that scene in general, there's one shot in it that I love, and there's probably a name for people that do a cinematography. We need to get Calta or Coleman in here. Maybe they can say what it is, where one of the babies escapes the room, and Nick Cage is going after it because he's like trying to put these other ones back, and they're all getting into different antics. And he's like, oh no, and he's trying to stay quiet so the people downstairs don't hear him. And the one baby goes out the door, and it's heading towards the steps where the owners, the parents, are downstairs. Yeah. And he goes after it, and he gets it. And he turns around, and it's the same camera shot. He turns around, goes into the room, and the second he goes back into the room is right when the next actress is coming up the stairs to check on things. Yeah. So it's like perfectly timed. And I'm like, how many times would you have to do that? But I love shots like that where as soon as one character exits the scene to not get caught, then the other character enters frame immediately right there. So there's a lot of cool cinematographic tricks going on in that whole sequence.
And all 5 babies are absolutely adorable. So
agreed.
And then you got what are their names? You got Larry, Barry, Harry, something,
and then Nathan Jr. or something like that. Nathan Jr. Yeah.
So they take Nathan Jr. He gets back to the car. He's like, I think I got the best one.
Yeah, I got the best one. He's got my eyes. Stuff like that. Oh my god!
So funny is this is the second movie we've seen too, where like in Seven Brothers for Seven Brides, the guy meets the lady for like 5 minutes and they're getting married. This is another movie so close where he talks to this woman, Ed. Her name is, what was it, Edwina? I can't remember. Edna? Maybe it was Edna, and he just calls her Ed for short. His name is High, which was short for something else too. Yeah, Ed and High. And he talks to her like 3 times and they're getting married. I just thought that was interesting. I'm like, really?
Better times.
Yeah, better times.
Yeah, so as you can imagine, stealing a baby kind of like puts people on the lookout for him. And then also he has his like 2 like idiot like cellmates, or not cellmates, they're just like in the prison with him. They escape. And what's that? It was parodying a scene. Was the Shawshank they parodying?
Oh, no, because this came before Shawshank. And
wait, is this the original?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I was enjoying a lot of it, and me and my wife were going to watch Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? And now that you mentioned it, we should watch Shawshank.
Because what was that really popular show, Prison Break or whatever? Didn't they do the same thing with them? Like,
he's screaming the whole time too.
I never saw The Great Escape, but in The Great Escape, did they have a scene like this?
I don't know.
There's a tunnel named Harry in that movie. Yeah, it's like a classic movie. And there's tunnels named
that might be what.
Dick and Harry. and they escape. But yeah, that whole thing. That
it definitely seemed like they were parodying something because this movie is filled with parody. I'll point to not Mad Max as an example, as the case in point example.
I really doubt Raising Arizona is where this scene originated from.
But I love, John Goodman comes out and he looks like a zombie and it's totally ridiculous. Yeah. And then he reaches back down into the earth in the middle of the rain and pulls his buddy out. His name wasn't Gale. I forget the guy's name. Foot first. So he pulls him out like foot first through the ground.
And there's a sound effect too, I think. His foot popped out and was like...
Now, was there symbolism there? Was there something birth-related symbolically about that sequence?
Penetration related. Maybe loosing a turd, loosing the bowels, releasing the inner bowel chakra.
But anyway, yes. So there's also this whole thing where like the main character gets his boss to come see the baby, and they're trying to keep the secret that it's a stolen baby, but the boss hates Polish people, and also he like suggests what's his name to start swinging.
White racism. Continue.
So the main character, ends up punching his boss. That gets him in trouble. The boss ends up like being like, I know where you got that baby from. And then the two prisoners hear that, and they're like, oh, cool, we can get this baby for ransom. And so
I do feel it's kind of contrived to just kind of have your buddies escape prison and then just go to his house, because that very much feels like the writer's hand at play. But I mean, it gets off on a technicality, right? In my opinion, there's probably better ways.
Please go to Destiny's house.
I feel like if you're doing a comedy, rules are kind of like
It depends the tone that the comedy sets, right?
Yeah.
And
it's just me nitpicking.
This type of humor is kind of there throughout the entire movie. So what else happens? Like they send like a person to hunt them. High kind of go like he has a moment where he goes back to try to rob a convenience store. Wife runs out, and this whole thing
I have to say, they didn't exactly send a person to hunt him. That dude actually heard about the missing baby and took it. Not Mad Max, by the way. That's what I'm talking about. Not Mad Max.
Goes to jail, man.
Not Ghost Rider, you mean?
Not Ghost Rider either.
Yes, the scene also where he first shows up. So similar. Yeah, it's weird.
Yep, it was crazy. And then I had a dream of Ghost Rider. But anyway, he hears about the baby, decides to take it upon himself to hunt down this baby because he knows how much human beings are worth on the underground human trafficking market.
A lot of people know how much these babies cost, huh?
Interesting.
Yeah, so the reward for finding the kid was 25, and he wanted double that to sell the kid on the black market.
Yeah. I mean, maybe the whole message of the movie is that, babies are the most valuable on the black market. I don't know.
I thought you were going to leave that as they're the most valuable. Like,
That was great.
We were so
maybe
close to having
maybe a little bit of Hollywood admitting some stuff there. I don't know. That's what I'm saying.
So the what's it called? The prisoner guys, the friends, they end up like leaving the baby on top of the car, and then they lose the baby. The parents get it back, and then the bounty hunter guy shows up, and they kind of have a little fight scene. Pretty good fight scene, also, by the way, at the end. A couple awesome scenes. I really want to get into one, the chase scene specifically, but so the bounty hunter like grabs him and lifts him up and like throws him after the main character notices that they have matching tattoos.
Oh yeah,
that was weird. What was the point of that?
I looked it up. So they both have these bird tattoos.
Yeah,
and it's like the best people can come up with this is like, oh, this is like what he could have become if he kept going down.
Oh, he saw himself.
Kind of like,
Gotcha.
I guess
that's
what
turns into a badass. Really?
I thought they both just love,
it turns into the Ghost Rider.
Yeah, bro.
So we're joking because the guy's on a motorcycle. He's got a bunch of guns. He's got chains.
And there's fire coming out behind his bike. And
got grenades.
He stops with his boot. He stops and turns the bike with his boot. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So when he threw Nicolas Cage,
I thought they both just like Woody Woodpecker.
Right. No, it's supposed to be a meaning because he looked at it anyways.
They both like.
But when he threw Nicolas Cage, he took some of the things from the grenades, and he blew up. And then they decide, Hai and Eddie, to return the kid, and they don't get turned in because guys like now he kind of like he's like, hey, you did the right thing, returning the baby. I'm not gonna out you. You can say bye to the baby, which is it was sweet. And then Nicolas Cage kind of has a dream that he ends up actually having kids, because one of the last things the guy says, the father of the babies, he's like, they told me we couldn't have a kid either, and then science happened. So it looks like there's a message of hope at the very end of the movie. So that's sweet. It was nice.
Yeah.
Enjoy
The
it.
guy was like, you know what? You just literally stole my kid. But you know what? You just go get out of here, you crazy kids, and think about it again before you break up. Because you little scamps, get out of here. And it's just like, okay. All right. And then his buddies literally go crawl back into the anus of the prison, which is still open for some reason.
Yeah, instead of just going back to the prison, they're like, all right,
they climb back into the hole.
Yeah. One thing I can't stand, and the Coens did this with, if I remember right, No Country for Old Men. The movie ends, just stops, and you're supposed to sit there and try and figure out what happened. And that's one thing about this ending that kind of bothered me, is he had a dream, this vision of the future where they're surrounded by family and grandchildren. We don't know that actually happens. Right. They might never had a kid. We don't know.
I think that's fine.
She was pretty intent on breaking up with him.
It's an ending of hope.
It is, but I would have liked it better if it was real.
It is real. He had a dream. All right.
I'll present to you the real ending, Evely. When he looked down and he saw the Woody Woodpecker tattoo, it was not actually what he might have become. It was actually a sign that this villain that's standing in front of him, was this misguided soul, still had a shred of humanity left in him, alongside the dangling baby foot shoes on the other side, and his virtuous crusade to save children. Evely, this man clearly was a hero, and when that grenade pin was pulled, it turned the entire story into a tragedy. That's why it ends in a dream, Evely, because the happy ending can only be in a dream. Can only be a dream in such a tragedy.
I don't believe you.
McCoppin, a lot of people thought that. From what I try to find out online, is a lot of people thought it might be father son.
I had that thought too.
Which is why it's so weird. It's just like they try to make it like a deep messaging out of it, and I think they missed the mark, and I think it just ended up confusing people.
I like it's what he could have become thing. I like that.
I guess it just gives people something to talk about, unless there was like some context that was cut, and they're just like, "Oh yeah, I should put that in there." But I don't know.
It wasn't done well enough at all. You shouldn't have to like search online for that stuff. Be like majorly confused by it. But the scene that really made me enjoy this movie, where I'm kind of like, all right, this has got me. That chase scene when the wife drives away from him after he just robbed the convenience store, and the police are coming after him. He's running. It's just like the more he runs, the more shit that happens. Like dogs start chasing him. He's running through these random houses. What else is happening? Yeah, I don't know. It was what else happened there? Help me remind me what happened in that chase scene. Oh yeah, like 1,000. The cops were just shooting like 1,000 bullets at him. And you'd be in the supermarket.
Yeah, unending clip. Yeah,
and like every building you walk into, there was just another gun. Like every store owner just brought out another shotgun. He's like,
that was a pretty cool chase scene. Yeah, that was back when chase scenes were competitive. I remember. I think it was my uncle or something, when he first showed me the Blues Brothers, he was like, this has like the craziest chase scene in it. You know what I mean? So like the previous generation actually cared about chase scenes a lot.
Oh yeah, that's true.
They were competing with each other. So
aside from all the shooting and stuff, one thing that was a lot of fun with it was he goes to hold up the place, and he's not just going in for the money. He's there for the diapers. And in the process of getting chased, he drops them in the middle of the road. And they go through this whole chase scene. He ends up reconnecting with his wife. And as they're driving frantically down the road, he has the presence of mind to like open the door and
He
snag.
goes, turn
diapers off
left.
Yeah, he
Turn
directs her back to get the diapers that he stole in the first place. It's like, that's pretty funny.
I'm sorry, that's comedy gold right there. I'm like, you got me.
That's
You got
pretty
me.
good.
There was a few
Um,
comedy gold moments. There was also a few stinkers. Not gonna lie.
Oh
There's
yeah.
a few stinker
No, but
moments.
the prisoners, I always forget the actor's name, but like every time they left the baby on top of the car, they're like, no, and then the baby's just like,
Yeah.
Sitting in the middle of the road. Yeah.
The baby actually kind of looked a little sunburnt too. I was like, oh, poor
Aw.
baby, get that thing, get it, save him, you bad guys, save him. Yeah.
And he's like, I gotta change the baby. Like, how do I do it? Well, the back side goes to the back, and the front side goes to the front.
Pretty
Like
self-explanatory.
I know that.
Yeah, one thing about this movie, I'm like, it's weird because a lot of things, I enjoyed it overall, but it had all the elements of a movie where I should have loved it, and something just didn't totally click into place for me across the board. But the characters in it, every character, even the smallest characters, you could do an entire side plot about almost any character that walks on the screen because there's so much to them. Just their physical appearances, the way that they're dressed, the things that they say, how they act, like all of them. You get maybe 2 lines of dialogue with some of these sub characters, and I'm like, I want to know more about them because they're so, I don't know, kind of absurd in a way. And some of the things they say, even his prison cellmate that he has in the movie for like 2 scenes, his top bunk guy, and he's talking about times were so tough. You know, if we didn't have this, we'd eat sand. And he's like, you would eat sand? It's like, we ate sand. And the guy just keeps rambling on.
Yeah.
Like, that cracked me up. Or
you're right. The whole
yeah,
movie and the characters are just so ridiculous. It's just got
man.
such charm to it.
Yeah. There's one guy that he's stamping things early in the movie. He keeps stamping convicted on things, and he looks like the brother from Napoleon Dynamite. He just has this look to him that's like, what in the world? That is a real human. That guy is out there in the world somewhere, and it's just fascinating characters, funny, and just
So when Common asks, what do we think about the soundtrack? I typically don't pay attention to soundtracks, but like, you know,
I found it the main song is the only thing that really stood out to me. So the rest of it must have been fine because I feel like a lot of times a good soundtrack, or at least a serviceable one, you don't really notice it that much because it blends in so much with the tone and the direction of the movie that's just there. Obviously, some movies have a soundtrack where the score stands out, like Indiana Jones or Star Wars and that sort of thing. And in this movie, that track was that opening song with the crazy yodeling. And I actually at one point I was like, I gotta like wait till this is done because it was just too much. But it sort of fit because the movie, everyone in it is like an insane person. Everyone's such a ridiculous human in some way, shape, or form. So the music was also sort of ridiculous and over the top in that sense. So it fit, but it also was sort of grating.
Yeah, I would actually agree. I would agree with that. The music, it was a good reflection of the movie, but that's not to say that it couldn't have been like better in ways. You know,
I felt like we were kind of watching it from like High's perspective because he's just like,
yeah,
you know, and the whole time every character is just like, you know, no, I felt like you're in that trance. I don't know, in a weird way. Does that make sense?
I'm so ready to watch Oh Brother Where Art Thou now after that because like it's got a lot of the same actors, it's like the same humor. Like I don't know, man. I gotta go watch it now because that's like the perfected version of the genre, I think, where it's like a dramedy, right?
Yeah,
drama.
Couple other scenes that crack me up in ridiculous lines. I should have written down more of them. There's one where they first get out of prison and it's John Goodman and his buddy. And they're explaining at like 3 a.m. They go into High's house with his wife, and she's like, "Why are they here? They got to get out of here." And they're talking to her, and they're like, their sentence structure is like really like well thought out and like very articulate. Like, well, you know, did you guys break out of prison? They're like, no, we found out the institution no longer had anything to offer to us. Like that cracked me up. And then the fight scene that occurs between High and John Goodman is also completely absurd.
That was pretty crazy.
He's on his back and he's smacking him with that rod and he throws him through the wall. It's just like, oh my gosh, this is so over the top and ridiculous.
And then the baby, the entire time the other guy grabs the baby and keeps the baby safe.
Yeah,
because
that
the
fight
whole
scene
time
was
you're watching
awesome.
this movie, you're like, please keep the baby safe. And every time they just show you a little shot of the baby, be like, duh. You're like, okay, you're safe. It's okay. We can have fun over here. It's going to be a little rowdy. But yeah, I don't know. I think this is where what I take away from the movie. Charm. Right? And I think we've previously had movies on other weeks that literally just won on charm alone. This has had a lot of it. So, chat, guys, put your comments below. What are you thinking? Are you guys thinking this a floater or sinker? Because
Can we put
arguments for sinking.
Can we put a poll in the chat like some other bigger
I gotta go on
people creators do? Justin, you know about this. You're on that fancy Iron Age Nights show. You know how to do polls in the YouTube.
I don't. I interact with the chat and I ask questions, but I'm I mean, you remember Richard was making fun of me because I forgot to present my screen and all that. Yeah,
just as part of the morning show at the club.
I think that's an insult, but I don't even understand it.
Calling you stripper hoe.
Background dancer.
Oh man.
No, here at the Iron Seas, we take your role as lieutenant or captain. Actually, you haven't been captain yet. As lieutenant, we take your role as lieutenant. Actually, you're more like the
I can report you guys. I found that button.
You're the navigator, bro. Actually, kind of.
I'm a terrible navigator, fellas. I'll tell you. I'm more like the I don't even know.
Bats is the lieutenant.
Anchor. Just throw me over.
I am not the lieutenant, sure. If anything, I'm an admiral.
You're an admiral. Yes. Not the captain. Well, the captain sometimes, but technically an admiral. I got you.
Yeah, I still haven't figured
Admiral's
it out.
higher than captain, so.
I know.
Oh, so there we go. I did it.
Yeah.
What?
Just kidding. I didn't do that. That was
You didn't?
No, it was not me.
Oh, you did it? Okay. Do we get to vote in it? I mean, I'm also
you should
a
be able
viewer.
to.
Yes, I'm a
What
viewer.
I
if,
mean, we got 4
well,
votes yay right
Yeah.
now, so I think
We'll do like
that
certain
determines it all. Yep.
Nice.
We all agree. No take backsies. Somebody voted nay. Ooh.
we got a nay.
edgy.
Who's a naysayer? Edgy boy.
Oh.
So,
All right. Well,
to settings.
yes.
Do we have the transition? We have all the best clips at the Iron Seas. Settings and story. Very important. Very important.
Some may say it's a key element to story writing.
Oh yeah.
And genre.
Kind of important. So let's do some examples here. I think that's the easiest way to start off, right? This is kind of our little tip segment, I guess, right? You know, just as consumers, what we think. A normal city, straight out of the U.S., current day, kind of boring. All right, we're doing most of us here,
Which
in the Iron Age, are doing fantasy, sci-fi stuff, and yeah, you could choose whatever setting you want. And yes, some of the greatest comics of all time have been written in cities that are straight out of here. But yeah, why would you pick just a normal ass city if you can pick anywhere, right?
I would argue that it's so that you have more room to shape everything else about the story, whether that's the magic system or the supernatural element to it or whatever. And I'll add that this is why, like, urban fantasy is a very popular genre, because you have this very mundane foundation, which is the real world, to just kind of put all of your fantasy on top of, and you don't even have to worry about like things like world building. You just focus all on magic system building. You know,
it's very true. There's like a relatability element to using like things that you know. But if you are going to use our setting, and this even goes for fantasy settings too, like, you know, even really wacky worlds, is like sometimes you have a fight occurring or something like that, and it's just in a plain warehouse, and it's like, okay, guys,
the warehouse,
be a little bit creative here.
Just
Now,
manufacture sparks.
Well, that could be the other thing. Is like the factory might be like like you can use elements through that. I feel like if you're using a fight scene, maybe they pick some stuff up. Maybe it's like Star Wars. Star Wars when they were in the factory in there, that was actually pretty cool when they were for all the bad that came from episode 2. But like there's all these wacky hijinks happening with all the characters as they're going through the factory with the molten lava and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You remember that?
Yep.
Yeah. So it's using their setting as a character in that instance.
Yeah, and it can also be an adversary, right? I'll point to the book Hatchet. The setting itself is the adversary. It's man versus wild. So, and that echoes on and on into many different things, but you get what I'm saying. It can be, the setting itself can also be synonymous with a lot of the other elements of the story, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I got a question for you guys. Can a really good setting save a bad story, and could a not good setting hurt a good story, or are they it's intertwined?
Probably not. I mean, if the story's good enough, the setting probably won't matter too much. But yeah, really good setting can't fix a bad story.
The setting is very entwined with the story, so it's hard to say.
Tomorrow, I mean, we should have. I forgot to announce this in the beginning. Tomorrow, we're releasing our Shadow of the Conqueror video, the Iron Sea special. We were releasing in the afternoon, probably. I think just like 12. So. And I bring that up because, well, A, you should go watch it. B, be ready for that.
Seconded.
But B is like the setting in that story is nuts, out of the world, right? It's like he really went balls to the wall with that setting. Now, if the story was trash, like after he said it and everything like that'd be done there here and there, right? But this is where I kind of say it's like, man, you got finished, so you could just do whatever. So it's like add some crazy elements to your world
that's fair.
In a different setting.
Fair. I see what you're saying now, where like a story could be bad, but like the setting is so good you almost want to see like another go at it or something like that. Like, so in a sense the setting can save the story. I could see that. I
guess for me, okay, there's two ways to look at this. I'm thinking of in terms of movies. So setting in a movie, something that you're taking in through your eyes, is very different than a setting that you're reading about, I would argue. Yeah. Because if you have a movie that's like schlocky and garbage, but they filmed it in New Zealand, I'll be like, that movie was not good, but man, was it pretty to look at.
Yeah.
Juniper's ending.
Say what?
All roads lead to Juniper Ascending. I'm thinking of I raised that question because there's certain settings that I love them so much. I don't know that you could like ruin it with a bad story, but it's gameplay wise. I'm thinking of BioShock. Like that world was awesome.
Yeah.
Even BioShock, that story, I thought that story was kind of trash, but I love that game because the setting's so cool.
Definitely. It's going to add some, but I also want to add too, I'm just remembering that like the setting is also like the mood, right?
Oh yeah.
In a way, yeah. Like I said, it's ingrained with like many different elements of the story.
Yeah. Like Skyrim, I think pretty good story, but if every town was like New York City, I would hate it. Like, to me, that would ruin it. Because I also, movies, I think I've said this before, if it takes place in a city where I'm just looking at ugly, giant concrete structures, they're just like these giant squares, or if I'm in a sewer or like a hot, nasty jungle, you got to do something special for me. But if you're in a beautiful location, like Lord of the Rings in New Zealand, or, I don't know, somewhere snowy and majestic, I'm already way more interested.
Let's talk the Predator movies, baby. The jungle and the concrete jungle.
Yep.
Do those settings affect you, right? I think
that's a good comparison. That's a good comparison.
Though.
Which one's underrated?
Predator 2. I think it's kind of underrated.
I haven't seen it in a very long time. Is that the same dude? That's not who's the actor in it? Let me ask it that way.
Well, and on top of that, the urban sorry.
Donald Glover.
Was that the same? That's the same dude from Lethal Weapon, right?
I might be having a racist moment here. I don't know.
That's why I said he's the actor instead of being like, I think it's the same dude. So, I think he's I liked him in both movies, assuming it's the same guy. So that's how I remember about it.
I mean, Predator 2 gets a bad rap because of it was
How people like it.
Yeah, I mean, you got to think Predator 1 was so good. Predator 2 just didn't. I know Donald Glover was in Lethal Weapon. Never seen Predator. Yeah, okay. But
Well, what I was gonna say is like there is the fact that the urban setting is in itself the human biome, right? There's jungle, forest, wasteland, desert, whatever, ocean, whatever you want to say. Just keep listing biomes. Urban would be like the human biome, because there's garbage everywhere, exhaust in the air.
it is Danny Glover.
See,
I'm
I
not
knew you weren't
racist,
racist.
chat.
I knew you weren't racist, Bats. But now we all know for sure.
Yeah.
All those at
Yeah.
Danny McDonald.
Oh,
Yeah.
Mm.
No, I mean there's some wacky stuff, but I look. I bring up the Predator movies because it's two very contrasting settings.
Yeah. So
same creature.
It's the same world. Yeah, that's what I was saying. It's a very good thing to bring up. That was a good example to bring up. So yeah, like how do you guys like feel about something like the Predator in the city versus like in the jungle? Because like that is two good settings for a Predator, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's two settings that I'm not very fond of to begin with, but at least the jungle's outside. To me, it's like I don't work outside. I'm inside all day, staring at a screen inside of like brick walls. So my entertainment, I want to not reflect that. I want to be outside and everything. Jungles just feel hot and kind of nasty, but I do like that better. And I think for Predator, I don't know. That's tough.
Both movies use the different elements to how the Predator hunts. So it's like the character is very much utilizing the settings of both, and like both of them are being characters in both, and that's kind of like how you're supposed to use settings, right? And in these instances, I don't think the setting matters as much. It's just Predator 2 for other reasons. Some of the plot details in there, that's why it didn't work. But
we're
the
talking
whole idea
about
of
setting.
The Predator in the concrete jungle was awesome. That was a great idea.
Yeah, it's a cool idea. That's like what you said. It's you're using setting to your advantage. Like you have the titular character, the Predator, which is this crazy alien hunter. Okay, then you just put them in different settings. There you go.
Yeah.
So that shows you right there is a formula for an entire IP. It shows you how powerful just setting alone can be.
Yeah.
You just combine
it'd be like if you had Spider-Man in Iowa, it'd probably be pretty boring because he doesn't have buildings to swing off of. So you just like run away from him, be like, get back here, and he can't like get to you because he doesn't swing off everything.
Yeah.
Some weird
Spider-Man.
guy just keeps trying to give me White Claw. So Redoubt Productions brings up Avatar 2009, a classic example of how fantasy settings hype up a story. I didn't like Avatar.
I didn't either.
But I think it only really worked because of the 3D. But yeah, I mean the setting is was the selling point of that like.
Are you talking about Planet Pandora Avatar?
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha.
And the reason being too, because like the blue aliens, like they weren't interesting. The world of Pandora was though. So yeah, I mean, that's a great example.
What's the eventuality that you could like? What's the max level blue alien that you can get as a character? Right, like they're obviously going to be riding like a giant dragon-sized version of whatever bird thing that they flew on, and he'll probably be integrated with both societies so that he can be on spaceships and go fight on other planets and stuff. Like I'm thinking like the superhero version of a blue alien from Avatar. What does that look like? Do you just give him a bunch of guns and have him on his big dragon thing? And
I'll be totally honest, AC. I have no idea what the fuck you just said or what you're asking.
The blue aliens from Avatar,
I think Emily
brother.
is on the same boat with me on that.
Oh.
I think he's saying, how do you make them like turn one of them into the Predator? Is that kind of what you're getting at?
Kinda, yeah, like max level. How do you put them into a situation where they're like an iconic, like hero, like character? You know what I mean? Like, how do you make an Avatar from Alien ready for a death
that's
battle?
a whole topic on its own, man.
The
Avatar blue aliens
and
suck.
T-shirts.
They orgasm every time they connect to anyone with their hair. Like,
it's hilarious, actually, when you say it out loud.
Nature.
Yeah, that's hilarious when you say it. It's fucking hilarious.
How do you connect with me?
What's a level 20 Avatar alien look like in D&D? That's all I want. You know what I mean? Like, what is it? what is it? You know what I mean?
Do they
I don't
call it
know.
unobtainium in their own language? Or
I don't know.
do
You
they,
just-
do they have better
Sticks
writing
and
in their plan?
stones. They suck. Avatar aliens suck.
I know that's kind of what I'm saying. Like the best you get is like a dragon rider with like
Level
guns.
20, they
you know?
probably get worse. Like I don't like. Like the
yeah.
water race was even more retarded. I don't know. They're all retarded.
Yeah, they have a fish race. That's right.
Oh,
That's
Lord.
right. yeah.
Avatar
Yeah.
versus Predator. Is that where we're heading with this?
Sick.
Avatar
I would
versus
watch
Alien versus
Sick.
Predator.
I would
might
watch
check
Shit
that
out of
too.
that.
I would watch. Don't give them any ideas, but I would watch.
Yeah.
I wouldn't pay, but I'd watch.
Now,
The
do you guys
predator
have
just wait till
a,
they're all like connected to the tree, just all coming at once, and he'd be like, pew, 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 pew. You know?
Takes them all down with one bullet. Yeah, dude.
do you all have
Yeah.
a favorite setting? Like I love mountainscapes and snow is like something that draws me in no matter what. There's something you're like, I have a preference for this or don't like this. Like I don't like jungles, I don't like cities. Deserts don't really do it for me either.
Battlefields. For some reason, I'm drawn to like battlefields, man. I don't know.
I don't know.
Battlefields,
I don't care.
not war
I don't care
zones,
so
right?
much.
You don't
It's
care.
like deserts.
Both.
I've seen deserts like really good, like some of the best movies deserts, and then some of the worst. Right? Like I mean, shit. The desert part of Deadpool and Wolverine was
Yeah, it
as
was.
a
I
setting.
didn't know.
So I'm not gonna get
It took
into
me a
that
while.
right now, but
Took me a while to figure out what was going on, but yeah. I was like, what?
But I feel
But
like,
yeah.
well, here's the thing. I think deserts all get used so often because it's the cheapest place for them to film. Not to mention it's like always used as an alien setting, like all the time. But
Yeah, if it's in a desert, you can be on any planet. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just change the color.
we
grade
can
of
be
the
in
film.
Mars. Bitch, this is
Yeah.
Utah.
Yep. Yep.
What?
Did we all say a setting? What's yours, Evelyn? You said mountainscapes, right?
Yeah, like Skyrim. Skyrim was a near perfect environment, I thought. Like
Yeah,
nature, and I can see the sky, and there's like 10 moons up there. You get some snow, and you get some
That's
wind,
sick.
and some sunshine. Or Witcher 3. I love that setting, with the exception of whenever you go to the Skellige, there's like flurries, but you don't get proper snow or proper snow covers. That was the only thing that was really lacking. But those
This
kind
is F tier snowfall right here. The fuck is this?
of yeah, flurries. I'm like, let's get some big flakes. I want some of those big flakes coming down. I'm sure there's mods for it. But, I'm on.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah. So you like the basic fantasy setting? That's what I'm hearing.
Meat and
Justin.
potatoes, man. Just give me a
Basic
piece of
bit.
steak. That's all I want. Just
Give me a steak.
I don't even care if there's a potato, to be honest. People say meat and potatoes. I'm just like, just meat, just a
Yeah.
steak. I'm
Just
happy.
give me the meat and give it to me raw, as Rings of Power would say.
That was,
And here-
is that
here's
Can't
what
believe
funny
that's
thing-
actually in there. Yeah, it's a
Yikes.
fucking direct quote. Give me the
Where's
meat.
comment?
Give it to me raw, Justin.
it sounds like you were freestyling there for a second.
It's sadly an actual
Oh, Chad's moving
fucking Lord of
way
the
too
Rings
quick.
dialogue now.
Yeah, I played Horizon Zero Dawn. It was fine. The whole
See,
sci-fi
that setting.
aspect of it, and then like they're like robot dinosaurs, and I would have loved
That's
that
a
when
setting.
I was 9.
That's
But
a
it was
powerful
just-
setting.
The world was fine, but
Here's
We were
the
just
thing.
talking-
Mars isn't actually red. All those
It's
photos are
not.
photoshopped
Yes.
by
yes.
NASA.
Yes. NASA. They're
It's true,
lying to you.
They're
They're all Photoshop
yeah,
experts.
all
They
They only
Photoshop.
hire artists. Look into
Read
it.
it.
Look it up.
They got you.
no, they're images. You're not wrong. Not photographs. They're images. It's art.
The moon is hollow.
I have no
Reptilian overlords rule us all.
idea. I've never been there.
That's my favorite setting. Hollow.
Obama
Moon.
was cloned.
Hollow Moon.
I'm just gonna keep escalating it. Yeah, Hollow Moon. That's real too,
Alright.
though. Anyway,
Let's see. Let me get back to the little thing. So, desperation as a motivation. And I'm assuming you picked that because of Raising Arizona, because I like that was.
Wait,
Am I
what?
right?
I
what?
didn't hear what you said.
What
What?
did you just fucking say?
Yeah.
Desperation as a motivation.
There we go.
And I'm assuming you picked that because of Raising Arizona. Because
Yeah,
that's
and I was
kind
trying to
the
think of other
motivation
movies
episode.
because I guess it depends on your definition of desperation, but I feel like survival is probably the one that comes to mind first, either your own survival or making sure somebody else survives. I would count that as desperation. I feel like it's a motivating factor in a lot of stories out there. Ones
Like
that
the
came-
movie Taken, right?
Dude, that's the first one that came to mind was Taken. Yeah, and it's funny because that we're gonna talk maybe a little. Oh, we're gonna talk about the Deadpool humor after this, and he makes a joke about Taken.
Every episode of 24.
Oh yeah,
and for that matter, anything that has like a countdown, which is a very, very common narrative device.
The Martian. Speaking of Mars, he's trying to survive Mars and trying to get him back. Castaway, another one. Survival. He's desperate to get back to his family.
That might be the best one. Castaway.
I do feel like most motivations are kind of cause some desperation, but it does say a lot about a character when it's not desperation. That's the motivator,
right? Sure. That's where it gets really interesting. Right?
That's when we get our heroes.
Because desperation is at the core of every human, right? You can eventually be hungry enough. You can be scared enough. Whatever. Insert whatever enough. Yeah.
Well, I mean, right? Like, if they're not doing it for desperation, that means that they're taking an action that they don't need to do.
Mm-hmm. Right. Like a just reason or something.
Like when desperation is used as a motivation, which it's used a lot. I guess it kind of like appeals to the very like human connection, right? It hits our empathy, meters in there, because like if you see the character's desperate, and you really feel it, it's gonna pull some empathy from the viewer, essentially.
Well, and that would be why a lot of villains have desperation as their core motivation.
Mm-hmm.
Many villains.
A lot of good villains. And that's a little bit the gray morality villains are doing stuff out of desperation, not because they need to.
Yeah.
Right?
Like not Mad Max in Raising Arizona. He clearly had a baby. He clearly had a baby, and he was only doing what he was doing out of desperation.
Ball with the ball, the bang, the dang, dig. Set the boogie, sit up, jump the boogie. Ball with the ball, the bang, the dang, dig. Set the boogie, sit up, jump the boogie. Ball with the ball, the bang, the dang.
It's Kahuna.
Oh, okay. I was wondering if that was the intro song.
Fucking sack of shit.
I was like in the zone. I was starting to get hypnotized.
Frankly, I have an insider. Her name is Caroline. She says there's a lot of corruption in the system, a lot of false votes, a lot of 4 a.m. ballot dumps. You wouldn't believe the things he said.
And
so instead of watching a movie with one of the coolest cars of all time,
we also got our guest here.
Good timing, dude.
Right.
What up, guys? I've been ripping on Joe for yeah.
We're done stalling, guys.
Good timing.
Good timing, man.
We were just talking about desperation as a motivation for characters.
Oh yeah. Well, it's a good motivation for most characters, because a lot of people do things they wouldn't normally do when they're desperate. So
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. And then
Robert Downey Jr.
Exactly. He needed that money. But likewise, Kahuna, we kind of deduced that when you have a character that does something for any other reason than desperation, it actually kind of adds a compelling, an easy, interesting layer to that. You know what I mean? Because like, you're not desperate. That means you don't have to do what you're doing. What are you doing?
Yeah, like the Nicolas Cage in that damn movie. It's like he did not need to do most of the things he did in that movie.
His wife wanted him to. He needed to.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he needed to. His wife
until she didn't want him to. But then he still.
Yeah.
Well, we talking about Mandy?
Yeah, she did. Yeah, I bet your ass she did, dude.
Yeah.
He's like, I went in there, I scoped him out. She's like, no, get back in there and get one of those damn kids.
But hey, that's why he's not a villain, right? Because they did it out of desperation. They did it. He's technically an evil act, right? But
reluctant hero.
Yeah.
He kind of he was robbing people.
You got a couple chances in there, right?
I think he occasionally showed himself to be human. I don't think any of his actions were particularly heroic.
Yeah.
He killed
the robbing people wasn't the desperate part. It was more about the taking the baby.
He killed the real hero at the end with that grenade.
He was the hero we all need in our story. He's like the Dark Knight, except we actually.
How many children has that man liberated? He liberated so many children, that Ghost Rider man. Not Mad Max.
That's how it works, though. If you kill Ghost Rider, you get to become him.
Randall Ty Cobb, the bounty hunter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He even
He's
had he's got the little kid, boots, the same tattoo as the protagonist, so he's a protagonist too. Like there's all kinds of defined direct reasons to believe.
He kills small animals with grenades. Some people call it overkill. I call
Damn
it
it, I
American.
forgot about that.
Those damn rabbits are overpopulated. Matt, you might not.
Frankly, all citizens should have grenades for dealing with small household.
You're right. That's kicking the dog. You're right.
Oh,
That's
Matt. You might not know this about our show,
a way
but
to
every
say
week
that's
we
the
put up a
dog.
poll to we all pick a movie and have people vote for it to see which one's going to win. And along with Raising Arizona, we also had Ghost Rider up there, which tied for the win. So that's why it was extra funny to see. Was that?
It's a hard pick. I own both on DVD. It's a hard pick, man. I actually liked Mark Steven Johnson's Ghost Rider. I like Sam Elliott in there. That's pretty entertaining.
Sam Elliott being there was just a little icing on the cake. I did enjoy it.
Yeah, that movie gets ragged on. I think it's kind of a sleeper hit, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's back up on the polls at some point. I think
honestly, there's enough fun Nicolas Cage flicks. We could probably do this 2 more times easily.
For me, I always preach about Cage. For me, he is like our Peter Cushing, Christopher Lee, and Vincent Price put together. He's the only one with actual balls on the table, creating art for Hollywood. I think for a minute there, he was just trying to evade tax, the taxes or whatnot evasion. But it became an art for him, and he's just putting them out. All of his movies are entertaining, even if they're trash, but they're darn entertaining.
Oh yeah, And it's like some of the movies like he's in are also the best movies of other people too. Like I think The Rock is the best thing Michael Bay has ever done. I had some people, probably he just happens to be in it. Isn't it weird that he's kind of the normal fucking movie? Yeah,
because of desperation.
Yeah. No, that's definitely a factor.
He does seem like a desperate fellow. Like even my pick, Gone in 60 Seconds, is like, oh, I live clean, man. I just like rent little golf carts to kids, man. I don't do that anymore. It's like, yeah, but this gangster is going to kill your brother unless you steal 50 cars in one night. He's like, oh, all right, I guess I'll do it.
Desperation. The movie Speed, desperation. It's always desperation.
It's always.
It's Keanu Reeves doesn't count.
Die Hard on Wheels.
Yeah.
Remember Keanu Reeves when he was younger and he's trying really hard to act and he almost got there a couple of times. Don't get me wrong. I love the guy, but like finally watching some of his movies, like John Wick when he's older, I'm like, oh, he can act. He did it. Guys,
have you not seen Bill and Ted? Dude, come on.
Oh yeah, he did famously go viral, the equivalent of viral back then, for like some of the his English accent is on several lists for the worst English accent of all.
Yeah, Dracula.
Yep.
Like, so that's
fantastic. What are you talking about? You don't know nothing about accent.
Probably my favorite movie. Easily my tied for the top position of favorite movies of all time. That movie is so good that they needed him in there to bring the balance up because his accent is so bad.
It's like, the movie's really, really good. You know what really, really, really bring it back down to a B movie level? What? The worst English accent you've ever heard. You won't believe this guy.
Yeah, and his mom's British too. His mom's British too, so it's kind of weird. But
you look at something like what was the Napoleon movie, and what's his name? Phoenix.
Walking Phoenix.
Walking Phoenix. That guy.
Walking Phoenix.
Walking Phoenix. Not running Phoenix. Walking Phoenix. He doesn't even try to fly in Phoenix. At least Keanu tried. Okay, maybe he couldn't do it, but he tried.
It was like a 3-year-old trying to, balance a family's checkbook. But yeah, he did try.
That's right.
A valiant effort.
There we go. See.
Actually, Matt, you have your own show where you go through a bunch of old movies and kind of watch a whole bunch of that and talk about it. So, yeah, do you guys have a smart kind of program and a kind of a flow to that so far, or are you kind of like us, just bumbling idiots making our way through?
So it's Brian Kreisgau's show that he does. It's we were doing Horror Movie Club for 2 years, and then we decided like, hey man, I told him, why don't we start doing some spaghetti westerns? We can offset it every other week. So we started doing that, and then he's like, well, let's start doing some kung fu movies, and some stuff like that. So now we're introducing that. So it's 2 horror shows a month, and then we got a kung fu show and a spaghetti western. But we're only doing specifically spaghetti westerns, not American westerns. So, and that spaghetti west is a different ballgame.
Even with that, there's a lot to pick from, man. They made like 604 years or something. So,
yeah.
Like,
well, you know,
you're spoiled for choice there.
They went where the money was, you know, when the porno was like, we make it the porno. Now, you know, now we make it the horror, we make it the western. You know, but the thing is, they were so fast at their artistry, and they were just, you know, journeymen, and they're really good at their craft, and they could just nail down the art. Everybody was on the same table.
And after the pornos, they already had the sets, and most of the actors were like, "Yeah, let's just give them guns, man. We're halfway there."
Yeah, right.
Real quick, let's listen to Keanu Reeves.
I will give it my full attention. All right.
Jesus Christ.
I have offended you with my ignorance, Count. I've seen many strange things already. Bloody wolves chasing me through some blue inferno.
Actually, the last one's pretty good.
No.
Yeah.
I know where the bastard sleeps. I brought him there. To Carfax Abbey.
I know where the bastard speeds.
I have one thing to say to that. Whoa.
You guys excited for Nosferatu for Christmas Day?
Oh yeah.
I really hope it's good, dude. I haven't looked that much into it yet. I really hope it's good.
I sent Justin a link to that right away. He was super stoked.
Right up my alley. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the last few movies he's done. I haven't seen The Lighthouse, but Love the Northman, still the best Viking movie, or at least Norse movie I've seen. And The Witch was killer. So I don't know. We'll see.
I've seen portions of like 3 of this guy's projects. I've just never the whole thing.
That's not Northman. It was
feel good, uplifting. Yeah, bring the whole family kind of.
Northman was super based. It was really good.
A lot of people didn't like it. It was a sprawling epic.
Justin only likes movies and books where good things happen and good people win always for all time.
It goes a long way. Yeah. Nosferatu, he's just misunderstood, and he, by the end, he's hanging out and like doing finger painting or something.
I'm waiting for them to like do the Hollywood thing. It's like, he has some problems, man, but it's okay. It's not his fault because he's gay, obviously. So
I have a feeling that movie is going to be really good. It's definitely not something like I don't know that I'll ever see it, but I think that people that enjoy vampire stories, I'd be surprised. From what I've seen of it, it looks like what they're trying to do. They're going to do a great job with it.
Yeah, it's a return to gothic horror, so you have that dread. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're slowly starting to do that more with movies. You're seeing a lot more dread in movies. Even with the new Hellboy movie, they're putting that in there. Long Legs had a lot of that in there. With the Foley and the sound design.
I heard it was good. I haven't seen it yet. I heard it was really, really solid, though.
I've been wanting to wait. I've been waiting. That was like the top movie for me now, but it's like, dang, I got to go see Deadpool and Wolverine now. I still haven't seen that. I've seen most of it online, though, just from every time I scroll through Twitter.
Right. Yeah, it's unavoidable.
They show new things, and I can't not look at it. It's like addicting. So I just, oh, Cavill,
You know what's funny about that movie is like there's so much nonsense in that movie. I think if they could have put out fake scenes, and unless you've seen the movie, you would have no idea if they're real or not.
Oh yeah, I mean, and for me, it was always like Deadpool was like the Mad Magazine or Saturday Night Live of Marvel. In this case, 20th Century Fox Marvel. It's not serious. You know what I mean? So it's like that's not Wolverine. That's not like none of it's really. I don't know. To me, I took seriously.
Well, let's talk about it because that was one of our topics. Not really just we weren't really going to talk about the movie plot necessarily, but the type of humor that's in Deadpool, and how that contrast with other comedies essentially, or even compares to the comedies.
Because I don't know about anybody else, but my wife does not like it. And I remember when the first Deadpool came out, I loved the first Deadpool at the time.
Oh, the first one's it's a great movie. I'll stand by that to this day. I think that's a great flick. Like top.
I think Emily disagrees a little bit, but
yeah, it
was a lot of like usually you get like the dick and fart jokes with like Kevin Smith, but it's just a lot of dick jokes. It's just like nonstop. I mean, it gets kind of old after a while for me personally. I thought the second one was kind of, I don't know. I only watched it one time.
The first one didn't outlive its welcome. I think the second one might have a little bit.
I like the second one.
As far as it's kind of.
The second one was
okay. See, we all make mistakes, man. It's okay.
Well, it's one of those comedies where it's a joke, and there's not the jokes aren't really like played out throughout the plot necessarily. There might be a reoccurring joke that they do, but they don't really do those jokes that like go from like develop from Act 1 to Act 2 to Act 3, right?
Well, I think it's kind of like Guardians of the Galaxy. In the first one, I like Guardians 1 and 2. Like in the first one, it was the jokes are made up because the people are who they are.
Yeah.
And they come about organically because of the situation. In the second one, it's like we have these skits that we are going to insert into this film.
Well, also wasn't a comedy.
Yeah.
It wasn't relying on that.
It's just two different kinds of styles of humor. One is a bit more forced, and the other is a bit more organic. I prefer organic.
I think that's why Deadpool 1 holds up better, because the plot and the emotional beats of Deadpool 1 are a lot stronger than the other ones. Where you can like, even if you do get annoyed by the like constant joke after joke, well, you still got this good solid movie behind all that. But it makes me think
there's actually a story somewhere behind all this bullshit. Yeah, what do you know?
The other thing about Deadpool.
Deadpool.
I made a Deadpool joke about the movie. Deadpool's humor is very scattershot. I feel like they do a little bit of everything, and so like what Matt was saying, where some of the humor, some of the sex jokes and wieners and farts and all that, you know, a couple of made me giggle, but they do.
Why did you say it that way?
They do get a little.
I think you should say it like that more.
The jokes get a little.
Just wiener and fart jokes, man. Yeah,
just
wiener and fart
jokes.
Yeah, it's But the thing is, they don't rely. There's a lot of them, but the movie isn't solely relying on that sense of humor. They give that to the audience that wants it, but then they'll have like a slapstick bit where some kind of ridiculous physical humor takes place. But then they also have jokes
did I leave the stove on?
Exactly. Or they have like classic subversion jokes where he's talking to Inara from Firefly. I don't know what her name is in the movie, or the actress's actual name. But
something Bordello or something. I don't know.
Sure.
So that's why it like makes me think of like the scary movie parodies, right? And like where those are completely reliant 100%. On the jokes. And but like I don't know, I have very fond memories of those movies.
That actually is a very good point. This was like the scary movie of like superhero movies. They might as well call it a superhero movie. Right.
Parody, 100%.
So you got. Oh, sorry. You got your fart jokes. You got your subversion, like the whenever he's talking to her and he's like, "Hey, what can I get for this?" She's like, 48 minutes of whatever you want. And then they go and play skee ball.
Yeah, right.
And then there's jokes that break the fourth wall. So you have that sense of humor in there as well. You know, like his sidekick, what's his name? It's not E.J. Murphy, the dude with the hair. And guy talks like
TJ. Was it TJ?
Okay. And he sends Deadpool somewhere, and he's like, "Go with this guy. I don't know. It might further the plot." Like that kind of stuff. Anytime
they talk about how ugly he is, or when they make references to other films, like with Deadpool, it kind of I don't mind those jokes because it makes sense. It's who the character is. It's all right, fine. Just make sure my suit isn't green, and make sure it's not animated.
Right. Like self-aware, self-deprecating, and then they also make fun of other pop culture things. So they're hitting like all these different possible humor topics throughout the movie. And even if one style isn't your thing, there's probably scenes in there at some point that are going to keep you hooked and keep you entertained, and they keep bouncing between them to keep you going along. And I think that's why the movie is so popular, because it kind of had some sense of humor for every humor fan out there, whatever you're thinking.
And you're talking about the new one, or just which one exactly, or just the franchise?
All three of them. I haven't seen the third one.
They all have a similar style of humor. I'm gonna check on my kids for a second. I'll be right back.
Yeah, I mean, this newest one was probably the most like parody type. I wouldn't say parody, but like reference
on the nose.
Jokes reference. Yeah. It's like constant. Where it kind of relies on that a lot more. The emotional beats of this one that probably is the weakest of the three.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
They had a final trailer where it kind of sold more of an emotional aesthetic, but I'm like, I don't know about that. We'll see.
They tried. It just did not.
Yeah, with Hugh Jackman.
They didn't sell it. Like, well, so this isn't spoiler. Like right at the beginning, it's like his girlfriend is like not with him anymore because he's not doing anything great with his life. Like he tries to be Avenger, but it's like, bitch, he just resurrected you in the last movie. What are you talking about? I know. What do you mean he's not doing good enough? Like, get over yourself. I don't know. It's weird. So,
You're always my favorite Wolverine, Hugh Jackman.
I didn't realize either. There's so many running jokes about Wolverine in the first two movies. Like I went back and watched clips of the jokes from the first two, and there's at least half a dozen Wolverine references and jokes where he's just making fun of. I can't remember the specifics, but I didn't realize that.
I think Ryan Reynolds was actually looking forward to it and like orchestrating this for years.
Oh yeah, because the whole thing with Origins, they both got the shit into the stick with that movie. Also, I was hoping they'd bring in Liev Schreiber because I thought that he really carried Origins. He did such a good job in that movie. He didn't really look the part. I mean, neither does Hugh Jackman. Is too much. I mean, he does physically look like him in the face, but I know they make a joke about how small he is, but they get like a 4 foot tall guy in there. I'm like, add another 4 and 5 inches and another 100 pounds, and you might look like him from the comic.
Yeah.
Leon.
It was funny. They were literally like, "Does anybody want to see comic book accurate Wolverine on screen?"
Oh yeah,
like the announcement for it was great. He was just like Hugh was just in the background of the house. He's like, "Hey, you want to be Wolverine one more time?" Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure.
Done.
I'm down. I'm down with him playing Wolverine for a while. I'm also down for a new Wolverine as well, though.
Yeah. I kind of want.
This was their moment. This was their moment to do it.
Can they stop? Like just in general, it's we have 3 Hellboys, 3 Spider-Man, 19 Batman in the last since I've been alive. What the hell is going on?
A new Joker every year.
What I want to see is I want them to continue what they're doing with Robert Downey Jr. now playing Doctor Doom. I want Hugh Jackman to play some other yet to be introduced Marvel character, and Ryan Reynolds going to play. They just keep bringing the same people to play new roles,
but not massive like Doom is such a iconic. He's the biggest villain in Marvel. He was the first one.
I think having RDJ as Doom is a mistake. He's a good actor.
I agree.
I agree. Yeah. I mean, Viggo Mortensen or Mads Mikkelsen or there's so many actors, dude.
Oh, that's a good pick.
Yep.
Or launch somebody new. I mean, you could make somebody's career off of it. Yeah,
why not make a career?
Just find a big guy. Just find a big guy who sounds smart with a deep voice. That's all you need. Man.
Yeah, I mean, kind of, sort of, but it's just so he could be a different. Obviously, there's a Tony that becomes Iron Man in the comics, But for me, it just kills the magic of the movie when I see, people can make the argument about Brolin, being Thanos and Cable, but he's a CGI character, and it just. It's just not the same thing. And then there's also the argument that it's a different universe, but they can hold that. For me, there's 2 different characters, but when you see Tony putting on another iron suit, and he's playing a massive iconic villain.
It's not iron, it's an alloy. It's an alloy.
Yeah, and for me, whenever I think of Fantastic Four, the beginning of Marvel, when I imagine Marvel, I think of the Fantastic Four, that strong family unit. I've never really been into it, but that much. I kind of like the first movies, but I like the concept of it. It feels really at home. It feels like a family unit. And then Doom, he's just this evil force that comes in. He's the first force, and his whole story of the way he came to be is fucking metal and amazing. And I was really hoping they would finally bring in an actor to play that. I thought Cavill was probably going to do it, maybe, or Mads Mikkelsen.
That could have been cool. It wouldn't have played into his natural kind of charisma in some ways, but I think he could have been that not Machiavellian type. Hell, they had him play Sherlock in that really crappy Netflix.
I haven't seen that. Yeah,
Sherlock pick.
Right.
What idiot?
I actually didn't have a problem. I thought him being Sherlock would be a problem.
He was such a small.
I don't think that was a problem.
It's still bad casting.
But either way, it's existing was a problem.
The past 10, 15, 20 years, it's just I guess really Disney. Have they tried to recast any actor and seen it even fail? Why are they so hesitant to do it?
No,
he's money. He's for sure money. He's he's $1 billion. He's gonna for sure. That's $2 billion probably.
For
2 movies. So you have to go where the money's at. Business situation. That's
here's the thing. They haven't learned learned anything because they're losing billions of dollars. And one of the things you got to do is you got to lower the budget. One of the places you can do that is in the actors. You can find quality actors that don't cost $1 billion or $40
don't have
million.
The same name recognition.
Look at the new Hellboy trailer, dude. That movie allegedly is a $20 million movie, dude. I mean, obviously it looks like it, but it looks dope. And that story calls for a low budget. If you've read Crooked Man,
right?
And it's a gothic, horror comic indie book. That's how it started. It's some action.
Exactly.
It's there's so many things they can do. When things stop going well or start going on, things start going really downhill. Go back to the things that work. look at back in the in the 2000s. Like there was a vibe to those movies, like early Fox, early Spider-Man.
Exactly.
Like even the early MCU. It's like there's something like it wasn't perfect, but there's something special there that isn't there anymore.
It got weeded out with the Avengers movie, which that movie I think is probably one of the best comic book movies ever made. He kind of
the first one, yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
it's
but everything
it's
before
just,
that was so dark. You know, like Kenneth Branagh's Thor. That's probably my favorite. The Edward Norton Hulk was awesome. Favreau's Iron Man. You know, and like the Captain America. That all those movies were so good, dude. They're so dark.
I don't think like I'll say something else controversial. I think after Thor 2 they haven't like Thor 3 and Thor 4.
Thor 2 is bad.
Yeah,
it was bad, but I'd rather watch Thor 2 than Thor 3 or 4.
I can see that argument. And for me, the first 15 minutes of every movie is the best part because
I really dislike Ragnarok. I really dislike Ragnarok. That's an unpopular opinion.
Even with the 80s metal music, really?
It does no like they're trying to like
it just was insulting.
They turned Thor into Guardians of the Galaxy, and that's not what Thor is.
That's what they definitely did. Yeah, they did that.
The god of hammers. I thought the god of lightning. No, the hammer gives him the power.
No, it's like not even Anthony Hopkins' god level acting can save some of these.
No. And like what they did to the Warriors 3, Hela just comes up and just kills him like I'm Hela and like that. Whatever happened to the emotion of the murdering of the Warriors 3? I felt nothing.
You're right.
Then they jammed an epic movie like quadrilogy or 6-movie run of Planet Hulk, at least a trilogy, into one like part of that movie, you know?
That was so
they ruined my favorite comic book Hulk story and Thor in one movie. I don't even know how you do that.
So it's a movie. It was a fun
Jeff
movie.
Goldblum, that'll fix that.
It was a travesty.
Yeah, Jeff Goldblum is the perfect Emperor of Sakaar, not the evil Machiavellian manipulator who used false terrorist information to start a planetary
The sad thing is, all this
like feeling like bombarded by jokes by Deadpool. No, Thor 3 bombarded you with jokes like incredibly bad. It was like every second it had to be a joke. Like even
it also it undercut every dramatic moment.
He had to they had to make a joke out of it.
Yeah, no, like we don't need jokes like in all these movies. You know what I mean? I don't need to have every character be a 14-year-old cracking a joke. Not everybody needs to be witty. Some people could be, stoic and brooding, like Thor. He needs to speak. I like him when he speaks more in Shakespearean tongue.
I liked it. Yeah, that like from Avengers and from the first Thor movie. Like that was great. Why did you ever stop that? That was fantastic.
It was all Branagh, man. He's real big on Shakespeare. That's why they hired him. And that movie was one of my. I love it, dude. Like I like the first. They're just fun. I don't know, man. It's a hard thing to say. I do like the first 15 minutes of every Thor movie though a lot. Like they're just they do the comic booky stuff.
The only one where they managed to ruin it in the first 15 minutes is Thor. Thor is bad from beginning to end. The only thing I really liked about Thor was the screaming. The screaming goats made me laugh every single time.
Oh yeah.
And I know it's stupid. And I have so many criticisms of that movie, but those goats did make me laugh.
Thor 4 was embarrassing.
Yeah, it was so embarrassing. I felt embarrassing and painful watching it.
So
didn't he apologize for making
one really good movie? What We Do in the Shadows, and then just like that's it, no more. Like
that was pretty good. That was a solid. That was a good movie.
Didn't they apologize for Thor 4?
Yeah.
Didn't they straight up say sorry?
Hemsworth basically said, "I'm not going to do Thor
apology not accepted."
Yeah, and like, how are you going to let your kids watch this? Right? Like, I didn't let my kids watch. They're talking about fucking orgies and things like that. Like, my kids aren't going to watch this. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, how am I supposed to show my 4-year-old this? You know what I mean?
It's like, what we need in a Thor movie? Ass. Just bare ass.
Yeah, Hemsworth was basically like,
wasn't he objectified? Wasn't he objectified like the whole time too? And they tend to preach about objectification.
To be fair, he kind of has been since the first one.
Yeah.
But it was.
Well, that's the other thing. I heard Hemsworth hates it.
I heard that too. I mean, he was kind of. I mean, same boat with Furiosa. It does seem to be the only reason anybody hires the guy.
And
unfortunately,
he's proven that he can act too, given the right opportunity.
Yeah, and he wanted to be in a Western with Costner, and Costner's like, no. That's another guy. Another movie I love, a feel-good movie I love, but his accent's horrible, and that's Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
That's the best Robin Hood film, straight up.
Oh, straight up. He's like, I truly hope so. He says like, there's one scene where he plays a beggar.
He doesn't even try an accent.
Yeah, he doesn't.
I don't
try.
think he even tries.
He tries in a couple scenes. He plays that beggar when he rubs the horse poop on him. You know, he's like, "Pardon me, sir. Pardon me, man, for a blind man." He does like that cognate thing. And
when he's making fun of it, actually, he's a little bit better.
Yeah, no, seriously, you know, like I don't know, but that movie, dude, I could just watch that over and over. I really like the Kevin Reynolds Three Musketeers from Disney. I like that a lot when it came out. Same director, I believe.
Remember when Disney made good live action films?
Tim Curry, Michael Wincott, dude. Oh, that dude Wincott, he'd be a perfect Solomon Kane, bro.
When I was a kid, I watched that, and then I watched The Man in the Iron Mask.
Oh yeah, that too.
A sequel, and
Me too.
It's a good movie, but it is not a sequel to the Disney
No, it's like a spiritual sequel.
And Leonardo,
I love when
DiCaprio's
there's
like,
spiritual
I'm
sequels.
so good at acting. I'm going to do 2 parts very, very well.
Do you guys think there's any chance to get back to kind of go back to Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom? Is there any chance that Disney is pulling a fast one and he's not actually playing Doctor Doom, that he's just in the movie?
Very possibly.
As a
There's
different
a lot
character?
of possibilities. Yeah, there's so many things he could do. Like he could be, you know, mentally hijacked. He could be in a coma, right? And Victor Von Doom his spirit could be in him. It could be like an alternate version of Tony where it's that.
It could just be Iron Man if he decided, like Doctor Doom in the MCU could be Iron Man if he decided to take over the world.
Yeah,
and that could work. That could work.
Here's the thing: if you want to figure out what Disney's going to do, you have to take a note out of my book, The Dunce Whisperer, and you have to do some dunce whispering. What is the most retarded thing that they'll do?
Make another Marvel movie.
Whisperer.
Yeah, what's that?
Make another Marvel's movie.
Oh,
yeah.
Dude,
probably
put
Kang the
saw
Conqueror
that
back in.
festering turd in theaters that was the first time I met Maji-chan, and I'm like, I got there late, 15 minutes late, and I'm like, what did I miss? She's like, nothing. Hey, she's here.
It could just be his voice, but you got the new Fantastic Four movie coming up. I seen some leaked trailer footage or whatnot, and it looked awesome. I was all on board. And when I do think of like old Marvel, I think of the 60s, you know. But again, I don't like how they're putting it in another universe. RDJ is probably going to have to be in there maybe to be Doom. But if he's Tony, he's not that Doom. So they don't have to put him in there, which I do not like. You know what I mean? And again, I'm going to have to – we're probably never going to get Doom.
They're stretching a lot of
probably never a proper Doom. Yeah, Doom is like a Machiavellian Darth Vader.
Yes,
in
sir.
the Marvel universe.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Are there any stories where Iron Man and Doctor Doom fight each other or are in the same place?
Many times. Iron Man almost always loses.
Okay, so there's a chance then that he is going to come back as Iron Man, and this is a bait and switch, and they're just trying to get people talking about it and how bad the casting is, and then they'll say, just kidding, he's actually Iron Man. People go, oh my gosh, this is relief and excitement at the same time.
And then you get a new Doom that comes in. Boom.
Yes,
the invincible armored Iron Man.
Well, I'm sure they have a bunch of ideas, to be honest with you guys. I wouldn't be surprised if they have like contingencies. They're checking out what people are doing on the internet. They're like, all right, guys, we're gonna roll with this. You know, that's what I would do if I was them. You know,
most likely
put up the new Hellboy trailer and see what people think. All right, let's show them the real Hellboy trailer. Oh shit, this movie looks pretty good for $5 independent movie. Like a lot. I don't know if you guys noticed. A lot of people switched the tone when that new Hellboy trailer dropped. You know, looks a little scarier. A lot more people are kind of down to watch it.
Remember the David Arbor version? Yeah, nobody else does either.
No, I think most likely what they'll be doing is that Doctor Doom's going to be an Iron Man variant.
Yeah, that's what he is.
That's
most likely.
90% sure. Everybody knows it, you know. And then they might do the bait and switch of, you know, I'm not the real Doom, and you know, maybe I was in a coma, like kind of like how they did with Superior, with what they did with Superior Spider-Man, how Doc Ock took over Peter, which is an awesome read. I highly recommend it.
Yeah, I remember that. That was good.
So.
Spider-Man used to have a lot of really cool storylines, more so than a lot of other Marvel characters, unfortunately. Like sometimes Thor, they did some weird things with Thor when I was a kid.
Oh yeah.
Like Matt, have you ever seen 90s Thor and his design?
Yeah.
Dude, like he looked awesome, but he didn't look nothing like Thor. He was like 80s, like
he had a big two-handed hammer,
the big ponytail and shit.
Yeah. And
he was Thunderstrike back then.
He looked like an 80s metal star, like given form. It was... but let's talk about something positive. AC, you and Matt are both running active campaigns for your comics right now. So
I was going to say.
Let's hear about.
Wait.
Yeah. Transit. Perfect transition. Audience loved it.
Yeah.
Well, for our guests first,
Yes.
I assume you have some stuff to shill. I've been told.
Oh,
Big
yeah,
breaths
definitely.
for the guests. Wait, that's not right.
I have a link right here. I don't know if you guys want me to share it in the private chat or something. Or
Yeah, send it to Battsauce. Apparently, he's in charge today.
Let's see here.
All
Yeah,
right,
just put that in the private chat, and I'll get it up.
Share it with the folks. Rune Cutter Comics.
Yeah, this is
It's a great name, man.
Oh, thanks, man. No, I just kind of thought of something like carving, and where kind of languages started, with different, I don't know, different cultures and whatnot. And I really like Norse, so I don't know. Thought that would have been a fun name for my company.
Same, brother.
That's something you and AC have in common.
Yes.
It's like every time I talk with AC about story stuff, he's like, "Oh, could we make it more Norse? Maybe." I'm like,
Yeah.
It's already like orcs on a Viking ship flying.
It's a mafia story.
Yeah.
It's already pretty Nordic, brother.
What if instead of Tommy guns, they have
Need
There
more
you go.
sausage and vodka orc.
actually
Energy.
Viking mafia sounds kind of cool.
AC, I don't want to hear you say we need more sausage and vodka. I just don't want to hear it.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to go ahead and play the trailer right now.
Play the trailer.
Thank you.
All right.
Not gonna lie, that little cut sound effect right at the end, ooh, that does things to me.
Oh, hell yeah.
Did you do the music for this as well? Is that you?
Yeah, actually, that's me and my buddy Dave. We got a little band called Nightmare Nemesis. He pretty much does all the instruments. I just do the vocals. This is the
Sorry,
first minute of the
missed the
song.
band name. There was
Nightmare Nemesis.
Nightmare Nemesis. Okay, cool. Are you guys up on all the streaming platforms and stuff, or Bandcamp, or?
We're on I forgot the name of it, SoundCloud. So you'll hear some of our demos on there. I got some demos from like 10 years ago. I'm gonna put on there. I got like a 10-song album. It's just been me and my buddy Dave doing the music now. It used to be me, him, and my little brother. Yeah, I was lucky enough to get Dave to do a Butch Cleaver song, and that's just the first minute of it. If you guys want to check it out, it's on my channel. I also email the MP3 to whoever backs the book. But
Sweet, dude.
basic spiel is like, this is a world. It's called Butch Cleaver. That's the name of the actual main character, and he is a butcher, and it's in a fictional. Basically, it's like a gothic horror western town called Oubliette. And the town, I don't know, it would almost be like a parallel universe to the one we live in. And it's in the 1800s. And I wanted to make a world that was filled with, like, cathedrals, like a town. And every other building is like a cathedral or a saloon, or there's also a little bit of French quarter in there too. All my influences. I also wanted to have just a lot of fun with it, man. It's a comic, so I try to be a cartoonist, and I wanted to make a book where I could bring in cowboys, Indians, banditos, pirates, Vikings. What the
basically like a metal cover mixed with like a 2004 like emo girls like music playlist. That's the kind of vibe we're going for,
right?
Spawn a little bit.
I definitely got like 20 influences just on this character alone. But yeah, Spawn for sure, man. I love Spawn growing up. I would say
it reminds me of some older horror comics I used to read when I was a kid. Also, a little bit, just like kind of basic framing and character design a little bit.
Oh yeah, definitely, man. Big fan of like EC and just like Swamp Thing. Swamp Thing, Jonah Hex, Hellboy. They're like a big influence. Batman. I could just keep going on. This is the first page of the first book, so most campaigns I recommend, people, don't have too many pictures on there. This I have a ton of them because I wanted to show the first book and the second book. So I've already funded these. Both campaigns have been funded. I got the money. This is essentially a store. You can come in and make a
Ooh, that's a pretty
even
page.
one or two, and you could get it. And I deliver basically the next day. I live around the corner from the post office. So
that
it's
helps
a puppet
lot,
man.
Yeah.
So what happens is in the world of Oubliette, there's this a meat packing tycoon, and his name's Whitey Ratatouille. They call him the White Rat, and he's been selling rotten meat. And word has it, it comes back to this big boss in town called the Voodoo Doll, and he's a preacher pimp. The front of his establishment is called the House of Love, and the back is called the Dollhouse, and that's his bordello. So what he does is he does business with certain people in the town, and when he does business with them, he makes a voodoo doll of it. You step out of line, they'll turn you into a cactus or a pincushion, and that's basically an insurance policy that you won't step out of line with them.
Instead of like writing it in your blood or doing something like, hey, this is your voodoo doll, bro.
Exactly.
Just be cool.
They don't even know about it. He keeps it all like literally like voodoo, like skeletons in the closet. He's got your voodoo doll in the closet. So Whitey stepped out of line, and so did Butch. He put a hex on both of them. As soon as, I don't want to spoil too much, but Butch does die, and then when he's brought back, he wakes up in this bone void where the sands are made of bone dust, and he's in this bone abbey, and he's in a bone cocoon. He's awakened by this light-eating demon called Moth Mammon. Moth Mammon wakes him up, and he teaches him how to use his powers. So there's this training sequence. So Butch can break down. He can use bone on a molecular level. So he could turn into any. He could turn into your skeleton and rip it out and come out of your body. Essentially, he's a blue collar dude. So he doesn't think like that. He doesn't think like that. So he's just very blue collar. He just makes knives and blades and guns. Because it's in the 1800s. But yeah, he can weaponize bone on a molecular level. So
what's Opie Possums?
So in the book, in the first book, Opio, the Whitey Ratatouille, he puts out a bounty on Butch Cleaver, and this is his cousin, Opie the old possum. And Opie, to me, he was like a combination of I wanted to make a knight character, kind of like Batman, but also I was really inspired by Sabretooth and Wolverine. So and then I like possums, and possums have a really cool shtick to them. So I made him. This dude with the possum skin cap, kind of like Davy Crockett. And he's got a death grip. He's got a bunch of pockets like a possum. Just a lot of cool things I could do with that. A big Bowie knife. He's got a whip instead of possums have a really thick tail, dude. It's gross. And so he can hang upside down. And I don't know. It's just kind of possumed out, But,
I'm only slightly disappointed that the whip isn't just an actual tail. Just slightly disappointed.
You never know, man. You really never know. And
he's like, this was my tail. I
tail
ripped it off
in
my pursuit of justice.
Yeah. And then Butch has a bull. He's a bull boy, and so he that's basically like his Batmobile and his Robin put together, and it's like his basically his partner, and that's one of the few people he talks to, but he does talk to he does have a couple of other buddies when he goes and gets a drink at the Warg Skull Saloon. It's basically it's a Viking meat hall saloon. So if you were to walk in, it's like a Viking ship's on the top, but it's turned upside down. So it's like the roof. And then the swing doors are a Viking shield cut in half. So you could just go in there. And Vargbjorn is the bartender there. So he goes in there and talks to him. And there's a bunch of shield mating cowgirls that work there. And so there's that. A lot of stuff in the story.
I might be hanging out of that bar a bit more often in this world as well. It's like, oh, honey, sorry, I got to go back to that saloon with all the hot shield maidens. Sorry.
Yeah,
I don't know, man.
They work there. They're women of the night, if you know what I mean. But if you step in line,
they are very hard workers.
Think of Valeria or Red Sonja. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
But like a whole bar filled of them, so they can take care of themselves. Vargbjorn just sits back and pours the drinks. He ain't gonna mess around. So.
Frankly, if I'm not afraid, it's not really working. You know what I'm saying, bro? No, I'm kidding.
Right. The second book, you're going to get the origin of Butch Cleaver. So if I could, I would have milked it out like they did with Wolverine or whatnot. I think you should always keep your origin for your characters a secret. Don't ever give it up. But I felt like people had to kind of human with him because he's essentially like a Jason Voorhees or a Michael Myers. And I want people to see why he is the way he is and why he's a maniac. And the main theme behind the second issue is he the victim, the villain, or the victor? So that's kind of what you get out of book 1 and 2. You know.
That's exciting, man. And so, like, could you read the first one without, like, would it feel complete as a story with just the first one, or do you think the first 1 and 2 kind of really do need each other?
Yeah, you do need each other. So at the time when I did do this, because I made this a long time ago, and so you'll hopefully see my art and writing get better with each book. The next book I'm not working on Butch Cleaver 3 next. I'm working on another book called Hell War, and then probably going to go to Butch after that. But I had spent over 10 years working on this character, and I wanted to kind of take a break from it. But there's a lot you can really chew on with this, and a pretty fun story. You know what I mean? It is a comic book, so it's going to have a lot of basically cartoony, like, you know, laughs, but also it should hit some notes too, especially in the second book, man.
Fantastic, man. Again, I think I talked to you about this like one time when I was on your channel, but it looks dope, dude. I always like the kind of horror aesthetic as well. It's like a lot of they'll have art, but they won't have an art style, which is disappointing. It's like a lot of these modern comics, especially, will just be such drivel. It's like the art may or may not be bad, but there is no style to it at all, which is obviously, it makes it feel like it's lacking something.
Oh yeah, it's you know, I try to do what I can. Again, I'm a greenhorn, and I'm still learning. I mean, I've been drawn since I was a kid, but I've only been making comic books independently, like by myself, for like 10 years or so now. So, yeah, man. You know, again, like before I was really in the whole like crowdfunding comics community. I was more into like making stories the books a little more episodic, you know. But now as the way I go, I approach my writing. I want my story to have a full beginning, middle, and end, and like a little tiny, like, even if that at the end, you know what I mean? That way people get closure and they get a good bite from what they back from their books, specifically pertaining to a graphic novel or something that's on a crowdfund. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. It's like if you're a comic or a manga, you have backing and you're coming out once every couple of weeks or 3 weeks, you can do the whole cliffhanger thing. But if you're doing an independent comic guy, and then suddenly it's going to be like 7 or 8 months, a year between issues, maybe don't leave on a cliffhanger. It's kind of a dick move at that point.
Yeah.
Yep. So like,
I like the idea of a defined ending, you know, like the full story, or like
absolutely
a full arc.
Hell whatever. Yeah. And so like for this, I mean, he does get he does get some answers. So at that time that was before, you know, I had come into that. So I do approach it a little differently now, but you will get some closure on some things, but there's going to be some stuff left over. I do have the third book, the third Butch Cleaver book, the script's written. It's called Butch Cleaver Carnival Freak Show Circus. And that'll be the third one. And it's not going to come out for a while, but yeah, this is up here. And I do appreciate you letting me come on and talk about it. I will say too that the next I have this thing up there where the next I think it's 25 backers. They're going to get a bunch of cards, 6 cards, a wanted poster that's 11 by 17. You're going to get 2 bumper stickers. No, sorry, 1 bumper sticker, 2 6 a.m. stickers, a button, and the next 5 backers are going to get a head sketch trading card by me too. So
cool.
It's a lot of stuff, a lot of tchotchkes that comes with.
So
So
a lot of entire comic start to finish. You do the story, you do the pencils, the inking, the lettering, the coloring, all of it.
yeah,
Whoa, that's an undertaking.
yeah, it takes it's very time sensitive.
Yeah, I bet.
So like I do things a little differently now as far as like for comics. You know, now I just do pretty much for right now. I'm just doing like for my next books, you know, like pencils and inks. I'm gonna do them in black and white because a lot of the subject matter I'm doing kind of falls in that category where you can kind of get away with like horror, you know, noir, fantasy as pertaining to sword and sorcery. You can kind of get away with the black and white a lot more.
Gotcha.
Hey, all the most popular comics, manga, black and white.
Exactly. So
you can too. If you're doing it all yourself, it's kind of cool because you're in control of every aspect of it. You don't have to worry about somebody else coming in and doing it not the way you saw it in your mind. You can actually do it yourself. So it's a lot more work, but I guess you get the product you were wanting.
Yeah, that's the cool thing about it. And you kind of you're not waiting on anybody. You're just waiting on yourself, which could equally be kind of challenging, you know.
Sure,
But,
sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, cool. AC, let's get your little shill in, and we'll wrap things up here.
Well, I was gonna say don't sleep on Color Pop either. Where you can have it.
DP Riley did that on his, and it came out really pretty cool.
What's Color Pop?
Yeah, mostly black and white, but then you do like the Schindler's List thing.
Is that like you make the blood red or
except
something?
a little bit more often. It's like in his story, it's in Tokyo part of it, and so like the neon signs have color and they glow.
Oh,
but then everything else is black and white, or occasionally they'll like the blood will be colored. Or
I call that the Frank Miller approach.
Sick.
Yeah, it's very much Frank Miller. Also, real quick, controversial opinion about him. His Daredevil run was way better than his Batman stuff. Sorry,
that's what I've been hearing. I haven't read it. Man. I mean, I've read some of it, but I haven't read so I got to go back and pick that up because Daredevil is one of my favorite vigilante characters with superpowers.
Yeah, I agree. And plus, frankly, like Dark Knight Returns, people crucify me for this, but that's kind of an overrated book.
Yeah, it is. It kind of is. That, you know, it helped save the industry, but it is pretty big. And the thing is too, like when you praise things so much and you put it up on a pedestal, it kind of comes down to like, well, it's just kind of. It's good, but I don't know. It gets crucified a lot.
I think it has the name recognition, and not to mention that the animated movies that came out for it were really popular, and not everything has an animated movie. And so, I mean, those movies are awesome.
Yeah, Peter Wilder.
Yeah,
that's my other favorite movie. So Conan, RoboCop, and Bram Stoker's Dracula tied for first.
You should put them together, Robo Dracula. It's what the world needs.
That would be pretty awesome. With a sword.
Actually, I'm trying to think of how that would work. Like, there was a story I wrote a while back. It was basically like it was a thought experiment. I'm like, could vampirism work in the digital age? Like, turn it into like a digital virus?
That's kind of gay.
You fucking son of a bitch. I should have known. See,
before you even started talking, I'm like, what?
This is why I need to run the show, Battsauce. This wouldn't happen except when I wanted it to.
Let's go.
All right. So
do it.
Let's start with this.
Do it.
Human heart that stands tall, frozen visage cold as ice. With the evening star he flies through the storm's haunting cries.
Archer of the frozen lands, king's own foul place within his hands. Succession, destiny calls. In the twilight he stands.
Hear the horn sound so clear. Hear the war cry, no regrets. Every fight brings destiny nearer. A saga of sunset. Saga of sunset.
Now fields of frost and flame, even sovereign's fire and pain. On his path, the legends claim the echoes of his name.
Mountain peaks his eyes survey, northern sun's fate to pray. Kingdom calls a break of day. You claim his boldness, come with me. Hear the horn sound so clear. Hear that war cry, no regrets. Every fight brings destiny nearer. A saga of sunset. Saga of sunset. Saga of sunset.
Yeah, this is basically 72 pages of art from Luke Stone on my comic. Basically, he is knocking it out of the park, being a real good sport about a lot of things. He's in close communication with me on a lot of stuff. Like, I didn't exactly understand how it all worked at first, and he's been helping me a little bit. But I also have the page here. I can go through some of it with you guys real quick. We're approaching our goal for all the variant covers here. Once we hit 1,000, we'll have enough for all 3 covers, and from there, I'll have a lot more stuff to update here. Like a lot of these placeholder covers here on the right with the rewards will be replaced with the new ones. For example, I can get some better representation in here. But yeah, you can kind of see the art here speaking for itself. We have a lot of different tiers. You get a bunch of stuff at the 75. Yeah, right here at the 75. That's the Color Pop edition. I have a whole bunch of stuff like stickers and bookmarks and stuff. That's where you actually start getting like a lot of loot along with just the product here. There's 2 different digital versions. I have an audiobook along with it that you can get for $5 more. And yeah, got a proof of concept in Anvil magazine that you can go check out. So like the comic is made already. I just need to finish it essentially. And cool biography cards. You can choose what character you want. That's going to be cool. Can't wait to make those. They're going to be foiled if possible. And a step further here, you can get like the source material, basically everything, but you also get like the source material and an entire deck of cards with like each character on it, and it's like a functional tarot deck too. So sweet, that's cool. I'm happy to offer that too. But yeah, I won't like take up too much time here. Just Rune Cutter
that's
is
awesome, man.
Focus. Yeah,
Well,
it reminds me of like Vikings and like old school Warcraft, man.
Yeah,
I love talking to you. I love talking to you guys too, because it's like a lot of us don't know how to do all this stuff. A lot of guys like you kind of just figure things out and moving forward, making great products, man.
It's hard, man. Like I don't, just trying to self-publish and make my own comic company. That was like the first thing I was trying to do. You know what I mean? And like, where do I find a printer and what type of business license do I need? And just kind of learning how to do that. And later on, it's like, you don't need a business license. You don't need, if you're selling like mad stuff, you know what I mean? Then like, go and get your DBA. How do you copyright? You can mail it to yourself. That's a poor man's copyright. Otherwise you got to send it to, you have to send it to the patent office. That takes like 15 months, so like, all kinds of little stuff, you could do a show on that. And just kind of,
it's also fun, like too, finding people who can supplement things you can't do. Like for a lot of my projects, I've wanted music. AC and Justin here have been very accommodating that way. Justin made the song for my channel and a few other things. And just knowing a couple of people who with different skills and you can make a huge difference in this realm as well.
Well, that's what it's all about, man. And then like a lot of the time, you could do like favors for people. You know what I mean? Like someone say, hey, can you do a song for me, or I'll do a cover for you, or I'll write a story for you, and you do this. You edit my book. A lot of that shit goes on back here. You know what I mean? Because we're indie, we're independent. And so we're helping each other out. And like me and Brian are about having like new people come in and showing them what we know and passing that on. You know what I mean? Sharing the knowledge. There's a lot of that could be happening more, I think, personally.
Oh yeah. This whole channel has been born out of our desire and ability to collaborate. All of us here on the Iron Trees, we have different skills. Justin, he's a musician. He's good at editing thumbnails, and he put together basically our whole intro. So there's vocals from maybe my son and I and a few others, but like that was pretty much all him. Bats is really good at being on the short bus. Nobody's on the short bus like him.
We're still trying to figure out where that comes in, but we know it's going to come in somewhere.
It's really important, I'm sure, to the whole function of the
good
show.
Yarn.
It's on the tour bus, bro.
AC's like, I don't know how to do everything, but I'm good at learning things. I'll try. I'm like,
I will
better
try.
than half the people I've worked with before, man.
Yeah. And I gotta say, Matt, I gotta say thanks for that commission that Kahuna got for you for Spirit Animals.
Yeah, the turtle. Yeah, that. You did such a great job on that.
You really captured Mio, man. And he's not only gonna appear in that episode, but like the next one, and then he's gonna be the character that Kahuna plays in the live one shot.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, thanks for the opportunity. It was fun. I love collaborating with independent artists, and it was a fun little venture into the, kind of like the Polynesian side of stuff, like the I mean, obviously, like there's like Deadliest Warrior. I don't know. I'm sure you guys probably watched that on Spike TV. We had the Maori Warrior with the paddle with the cartoon on it. So like
I had
so very realistic.
I had so many things to say about that whole thing too.
But it was fun. It was a fun show. And
I like despite any liberties they may take occasionally, I do really like that show.
Yeah, right. It's about popcorn and But yeah, man, I love doing that piece, man. It was fun. That's an awesome character, I think.
He's basically going to be like my Goku type. So yeah, he'll go a long way. He's a big deal.
Hell yeah, that's what's up.
Yeah.
Well, and then like that's something else too. Like us, AC and I, we did a lot of talking. We did a lot of kind of brainstorming for that episode, and I was like, after a while, I'm like, he's like, I'll just use AI, and I'll like it's a free product, so I'm not going to invest a ton of money into it. I'm like, that's true, but what if we did just a little bit?
Just a little.
I know a guy. He's good with movies. He's really big in the movies. Really big in the brewskis, really big in the metal. He might be able to do something for us.
I was gonna say, yeah, you're actually the first official commission for Spirit Animals too. Also,
oh shit!
So
awesome.
yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So because like my goal is to do it all myself. But I mean, if I am completely open to stuff like all this, and honestly, once I get enough money coming in, I would love to have like an artist do a cover for each episode, like, because that's what I'm doing right now is like I think it's cool to have new art for each episode, right? For example, or like, oh, I'll just make all the characters or whatever, it's fine, whatever, because it's free, and I'm not charging anybody for it. But yeah, like down the line, man, it would be so cool to just be like, and this cover's by this dude, you know what I mean? Just like all these guest artists, like that'd be so cool.
I have like a ton of artists that I want to work with, because I got a bunch of books I want to do hopefully before I die, and
yeah, dude,
I have a list of like people, like it's hopefully I can do that as well.
Yeah, we all work.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. It's like way back in the day, back when I was first into like the indie kind of sphere, I was reading books, I was commissioning art, writing stuff a whole bunch, and then I kind of fell away from it for personal reasons. And then I come back and I'm like, I need to figure out how like all this art stuff works again. I need to start finding artists I like and knowing them, and like basically testing their process and figuring out who I like, not only whose style I like, but who can collaborate well and understand kind of my vision and what I want. And me, like, I've worked with you and Moon and a few Welshman, a few other people. It's like, it's really cool when I trust someone like you or Moon enough. I'm like, I can just give them you guys an idea, and you're like, what about this? I'm like, if it's your instinct, I want to try to let you do it, because you guys are good at what you do, and I don't want to get in the way of that whole thing.
I try to ask a lot of questions. For me, it's like the more detail I have about stuff. I don't know. And I want to give the person I'm doing a piece for, like, I want them to be happy. So I try to bring them in on the whole like thumbnailing process from the gate. I don't know. It's just, or at least the penciling, and the thumbnail. But it's like, you got to know what it is. The more I know, the less changes we have to make going throughout.
Also, like with Moon, it's different. It's a different process, because he did a piece for me recently, and it was really interesting because like when he finally had the mock-up kind of done, I'm like, it looked very similar to how the end product looked in some ways, just like with a lot of detail. With you sent me the pencils. You're like, don't worry, it's part of the process. I'm like, I trust you. And then the inks come out, and it looks it looks so different. I love it, man. I was like so worried until the inks came out, like, because you did that cowboy piece for me too, and people love that piece too.
Oh, thanks, man. I can't wait to read a story about that guy. Like, imagine you're a badass, in a small town, full of other mercenaries, theoretically, right? And you're coming up on this gunslinger, and he's you're comfortable. You're about to take him out, and then this he grows. He's got a big gun, and he's huge, and like, what are you gonna do? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. There's just something really like kind of
Inspiring.
Well, I mean, it's very very primal about it in the sense that it's it reminds me of just like it reminds me of like just like a Nephilim or something like that, you know, as a cowboy or something. Very down to earth, but I've never seen that. No one. I mean, it's something that's on your nose. Anybody could think of it, but no one's done it, you know. And it's,
do you remember the main
cowboy.
descriptor that I gave you? Do you remember I said, do you remember what I told you when I was like giving a basic descriptor of the feeling I wanted them to have?
Vaguely, man, vaguely.
10 foot tall and bulletproof, like that old cowboy kind of description.
Yeah, I remember that.
Usually describing like a young guy who has no idea they can be killed by bullets just as easily as everyone else.
I just imagine him as like a Nephilim, like a descendant of that, you know, like a fallen. I mean, it's not. I'm sure it's not what it is, but to me, I stole it in my head. You know what I mean? Like, how did how did that survive? Did they unearth him? Did they thaw him out? I don't know. It just seemed kind of.
They gave him a gun.
A big.
No, he just picked up a fucking cannon, right, and then just like fashioned that into a gun. That's what he did.
Well, in the piece, like there's that guy and he has a knife through the bottom of the like chin here, going through the top of the skull. I'm like, dude, it's so sick. It's like, and like, there's so many ways you like. If you just take the image, there's so many ways you could go with it. It could be actual supernatural, or it could just be the feeling evoked when things start going down too.
Could be a tall tale of a tall Pecos Bill or John Henry or Paul Bunyan or something.
Or it's like Game of Telephone too. It's like started off. It's like, oh yeah, this guy rolled him down. There's a gun. We don't really know. Like a year or two later, it's like he was 10 foot tall. He killed everyone. He killed half of them with a knife.
It's always that time, guys. Into that time.
Have any last words before you walk the planks? You can't do this, you maniac!
All right.
You son of a gun.
For our channel, tomorrow we're releasing Shadow of the Conqueror review. We did it we all re-listened
Shadow of the Dunce Whisperer.
We did an in-depth review, and that will be releasing tomorrow. So that's something to look forward to. Should be releasing at like 12.
And this is a very well beloved book. Not a lot of controversy, so I'm sure we aren't going to piss off. No one will be pissed off.
I think Disney will be adopting it and putting it on Disney Plus at some point.
They're like, but what if he was really gay? Also, guys, like, have you thought about?
Disney's like, I love this story. I absolutely love this story, Shad. But we're just going to change one thing. Can he be gayer? Can we make him like? I mean, everything else is great, but
they just turn Lyra into like trans woman.
Lyra is now also a dude. Yeah, great.
How can we make him gayer? Anyway. Besides that, on my own channel, I'll be starting a new weekly stream. It's going to be starting at 11 in the morning. So I don't got no job. So if you want to hop in during your lunchtime, hop in. If you want to join me, if you also got nothing going on, anyone that can jump in at any point, just keep in mind I'm the captain. That's about it. Yeah, AC's planning on.
Joe, you just have to lie. Tell him your wife is the host, and people will show up for sure. Dude.
They'll show up for sure. Yeah.
Dude,
we bought her some tank tops too.
She'd be such a mean host. It would be great.
All right. So, anyone else? Got their last minute stuff before Kahuna takes us out? Anything else?
I had a whole video. I'm good.
I'll just say if you guys want, I got a channel. It's Metal Movies and Brewskis. I do reviews on comics most of the time. Sometimes metal, but not really. Lately, it's just been comics. And I do a Saturday night midnight show. So midnight Eastern time, where I talk about metal, movies, comics, monsters, all that stuff. So that's about an hour-long show that I do. So if you guys want to check that out, if not, that's cool. Thanks again for the opportunity, guys. And if you guys want to check out my book, it's at butchcleaver.com.
Thanks for joining.
Yeah, dude.
Awesome. Thanks for being here, man. It's good talking with you.
Too.
Absolutely. And guys, being one of the obviously most important people here, being the guy who's been here since the beginning of this show, I'll take us out. So every Tuesday at 6:30 PST, find us here on the Iron Seas. You can come aboard. You can be a seaman too. Come on, be there. Woo!